Hey there, everyone. Ill Factor here from beatacademy.com. Now, usually on this channel, I'm sharing music production tips and techniques while recreating popular songs. I'm going to be doing that today in this video, but I'm also going to be sharing some industry insights that go into what makes this song work. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive right in. Check out the finished product. All right, so it definitely has that throwback early 90s house type of vibe to it. I think of CNC Music Factory and all those cool groups that I grew up listening to. So I'm going to start with the drums. And for that, we have a straightforward 909 Classic kit. So I'm using the standard 909 Classic kit that comes with Ableton Live and with just a simple, straightforward pattern. Now, what I'm doing is I'm making sure that within the kit, I'm lowering or just taking away all the low end of the initial kick drum here with an EQ. And I'm doing that so that I can go ahead and layer another kick here, which I have right over here. And for this, I'm using the Big Kick plugin, a great plugin, and just simply drawing in the 4 on the floor pattern allows me to trigger this plugin, and it's generating and creating a kick that we can go ahead, shape, and mold. And so the kick on this record just has this nice, huge bottom end to it. So that's what I'm using this kick layered with the drums to create. And then I've got the saturator plugin, really cranking the drive here, set to analog clip, and just using an EQ, just taking away a little bit of some of that low mid thump. And that was it. So I'll group these two together along with a loop and a tambourine. So let's take a listen to the loop really quickly. Now that loop is really there to accentuate that nice clap. So it's a real big clap with a little bit of a flam to it. And I'm gonna make sure that and there's really no kick present. So it does well with blending it with the 909 kit and the new kick that we have. And then test a really great way to just glue some of the drums together with a percussive element would be adding tambourine. So here is a tambourine loop. And just to create some movement, I'm side chaining the tambourine with the kick drum so that every time the kick drum is being played, the tambourine ducks. And I'm doing that here with the Ableton Live compressor, just opening this up, enabling the side chain, and choosing the kick drum, big kick, as the source. Now, once I have all the drums grouped, I'm then just doing a little bit of compression using the glue compressor, the drum bus to really give some nice saturation, crunching the mid-range, and expressing a little bit more sustain on the transients and using an EQ. So let's go ahead and bypass these. So let's focus in on that organ bass that we can hear, not just on this record, but so many classic dance records. So this is what it sounds like. And what I'm doing is starting off with the Ableton Live wavetable, but you can use any synthesizer you have in your DAW. Just follow along these steps. We're gonna have oscillators 1 and 2, so you need at least something with 2 or more oscillators. Oscillators 1 and 2 are both going to be set to a triangle wave, but I'm gonna have oscillator 2 go a whole octave higher. So I'm gonna increase that by 12 semitones. Then I'm gonna go ahead and enable our sub oscillator. So technically you'll need 3. And this is gonna be a whole octave lower. That's what gives a nice little bass presence. So both oscillators are set to oscillator to triangle wave, and then you're just kind of blending the volume. So I'm giving a little bit more volume of the higher octave oscillator and lowering the volume of that first oscillator there. Then we're gonna map our filter frequency to our envelope 2 in this case. So I have it here, filter frequency set to 33 in the matrix. And that's basically saying, hey, I want this envelope to change the character or the way this filter cutoff reacts. So I've got a pretty short sustain, medium decay here, and we've got the filter frequency pretty much at 104, something like that. We have it pretty low. And then I'm making sure that I have it set to monophonic and not polyphonic so that the notes won't overlap. And just set we have the unison going on. And this is going to give it a nice wider and more width to the sound. So we'll go from unison, hit classic, I have 2 voices, and just a little bit of the unison. After that, we're going to use some saturator to just add some nice harmonic distortion to this. And a little bit more chorus. And reverb to really create that nice atmosphere. And then for the sub, pretty straightforward. We're going to have another wavetable here, but this one is set to a sine wave, so that it's just focusing on the lower end of the spectrum. And I'm also going to layer oscillator 2 with the triangle waves, so we just get a little bit more presence there. So here is the bass. So that extra triangle wave does give a little bit more presence, lowering the cutoff frequency here and setting this to monophonic. Then I'm using an amp simulator from Ableton Live just to give a lot more harmonic saturation, having the bass add more emphasis on the low end. And then using an EQ, just deal with any masking issues so that any frequencies that are clashing, especially with the kick, which when I listen to the reference, has a lot of low end presence there. So just kind of making sure that the balance between those two are good. Now, heading over to the piano, I'm just using the stock grand piano that comes with Ableton Live, just messing around with the bright, tone, changing the velocity setting over to hard, and then giving it a little bit of chorus so that it adds some of that classic width. And then some over-the-top compression, multi-band compression. This is what's going to squeeze the life out of this piano. So it just brightens that up by using that. And then an EQ to give a little bit more brightness on the high-mid section there, help it stand up in the blend of all the other elements. And then I'm using some sidechain compression, similar to what we did with Tambourine. Here's what it sounds like all together. I want to spend some time talking about what makes this song work. Now, yes, the elephant in the room is it's Beyonce. I mean, let's be real. You could fart in a Tupperware and it'll be fine, right? But the reality is it's a little bit more than it just being Beyonce on a simple house track that's making this work. Yes, it's the songwriting, it's the swag, it's the vibe that she's throwing on there. But I don't want you to hear this track and think of, man, I have so many beats that would blow this away. Who do I need to know to send those tracks off to so that she can be featured on those tracks? And you're thinking the wrong way. And essentially, a lot of times in the industry, what tends to happen when myself and other professional music producers are working in the studio with songwriters or the artists themselves, there's a big portion that doesn't really get talked about much. And that's just the electricity and the overall vibe that happens in the creative moment of the writing process of that song. So it could have just been when you have, the writers such as Tricky and The Dream, when they're just creating and bumping this record on a loud system in the studio, and you're in the same room with Beyonce, and you're establishing a vision, and you're going over this vibe, and the three of you have something going that is special, 3 or more, whoever's in the room. That's that magic that just catches fire, that allows people to really get lost in the overall vibe of creating what we now hear as Break My Soul. And I think that's what allows the artist to really champion the song. They really just become attached to it, not just necessarily because they really love the song, and that could very well be it, but the association of how the song was created, the overall vibe. I'm saying all this to to really paint the picture that it's not as simple as, well, let me just get a simple house beat. Let me send that to somebody so that they can be featured and hopefully it'll be a smash hit. That might happen. Who knows? But you don't want to neglect the nuances of collaborating and the power of being able to be in the room and working with others. And even if it's via Zoom or just via internet, just the potential of collaborating and the power of having other people holding you accountable, having other people that you can bounce ideas off of, it goes a long way. And I think a big part of that is really what to attribute to why this song works. It's not that there's anything revolutionary. I mean, I just walked through creating this beat in less than 7 minutes, but it's, and it's not just that it's an amazing artist on top of it. I mean, that has a big part of it, but I think it's just what was going on in the instant that the song was being created that just had everybody really feeling the song and feeling the vibe, feeling the track so much. They were like, this is the single. This is the one to go off of. And so, yeah, that plays a bigger role than people often give credit for. So what does that mean for you? If you don't have the potential to get Beyonce featured on your song, I get that. What that could mean for you is that you simply just reach out, start collaborating, start connecting with other like-minded individuals that can help you take that next step forward with producing the music that you want to produce. And I say all this because it has been such a huge part of a lot of the producers and artists that I've come to work with and helping them grow. And that is what they've been able to find at beatacademy.com. It's one of the reasons why I created it, because I didn't want to just create a platform that has courses available for you to learn and grow as a person who wants to produce their music. But I created Beat Academy as a way for me to pour into you and help you with producing your music, but also to link up with a community of like-minded musicians, artists, music producers, and talented people who could collaborate and create that kind of momentum that you might be looking for yourself. So if you're interested in that, I want to then encourage you to visit beatacademy.com for more information and become a Beat Academy Pro member today. Thanks for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to subscribe and like so you can stay up to date with upcoming videos. Take care.